I'm here joined by Adrian, and no, you are not dreaming, you are not hallucinating, it is time. Square Enix's White Whale is finally coming out, Kingdom Hearts 3. My god, we never thought this day would come.
I can't believe I can finally say that I've played Kingdom Hearts 3. How is that a sentence that actually exists?
Absolutely, so it is a surprise to all of us. It is playable, it is happening, and now we had two stages to choose from. Both of us smashed both out. So we had Olympus and we had the toy box. So let's discuss Olympus.
So Olympus had a lot more of the kind of context-sensitive free movement you had in Dream Drop Distance, right? So you could run up walls, and I think it was a lot better done than they did on the 3DS version in that you could run up any wall that had like a shiny kind of like surface on it. Like you do like a Naruto run, it's really weird. Like I don't know.
Anything made of linoleum.
Sora's shoes are really sticky now. Like, he just runs up stuff, but it's great.
No context needed.
No context needed at all.
Yeah. So it really kind of plays up the whole context sensitive and the verticality of climbing up particular walls in certain stages, and obviously puts a lot of pressure, not a lot of pressure, but puts a lot of emphasis on that. So you obviously got to go up and you got to fight this gigantic golem Heartless, but he's throwing rocks at you, so you really need to kind of make sure that you're dodging, ducking, and weaving, while at the same time making enough distance to fight him. Otherwise, he knocks you down.
Yeah, and I was worried this would be kind of relegated just to that boss fight, but turns out even in normal combat, you can run up walls and then jump off and do like a kind of glide dive bomb attack, which I think is really, really cool. Yeah. It makes the game feel a lot more fluid. It's not just a gimmick.
Yeah, and also kind of like those pesky magic Heartless that could reach in the first two Kingdom Hearts games. At least you can run up a wall and pick them off.
You can just like pick them off. It's fine. Sora is basically Spider-Man now.
Yeah, so if you don't have enough magic for like Blizzaga or whatever, there's your alternative. But we're also going to talk about Toy Box as well, which seemed a lot more, I guess, environmentally or combat oriented.
Yeah, so you had a chance to explore, I guess it was like Andy's room from Toy Story. You got to chat to the characters, you got to, even like the walls in that room, you could just run up them and like find treasure. It was a lot more open, which I liked. It kind of like, you kind of just got to chill out and explore his room and the neighborhood outside as well.
Yeah, like Andy's mum really needs to clean his ceilings because they were pretty dirty. They were pretty filthy.
There's so much stuff everywhere, but it's fun. Like you can hop on like his toy ball and like roll around on that, and like there's options to like use that, I think in combat. Yeah, so like, yeah, there's cool stuff.
Then you also go to Galaxy Toys right afterwards, and it plays up the whole gimmick of going into vehicles and fighting and using robots to kill other robots and all that sort of stuff. So there's a lot of variety in the combat. There's a lot of like interesting things to keep you sane. Obviously, once the Proud mode comes out, which probably will eventually get patched and take 5 years to develop and release, we'll probably have that to look forward to. But I gotta say, one thing we're both on the same page with is the aesthetic looks absolutely gorgeous, running in Unreal Engine 4 and running in 60 frames per second. I don't know how this was possible, but the engineers at Square Enix are certainly getting their work cut out for them.
It looks absolutely amazing. I had kind of mixed feelings about them changing like the choice of engine for this game, right? Because early impressions were the characters kind of had a strange looking sheen to them. I think they really captured that aesthetic they needed to capture in the PS2 version, but they transitioned really, really well. The characters animate beautifully. The lip syncing is absolutely amazing. It looks flawless. It looks beautiful.
Looking forward to that Haley Joel Osment drop. So, again, looks absolutely incredible. Plays really well too. I was actually surprised about the quality. I mean, this game's been in development for so long, probably changed so many engines as well, that we're starting to kind of get a bit, you know, collar pulling in terms of like, oh, I don't know how good is this going to be. But rest assured, given what we've previewed, we have no worries at all at the quality of Kingdom Hearts 3.
Well, it's not a TGS without me stopping at the EDF booth, well, the D3 booth, to play Earth Defense Force. So the greatest thing about this one at the moment is EDF 5 has been out for a while in Japan, but they finally confirmed that it's going to get a release date in English, hopefully sometime this year was what I was told. And so it is the same game. If you played EDF 5 on the Japanese version, it's exactly the same, except obviously this time you've got English, so you know what weapons you're using, you can see the names, all of the directions you're being told, you don't have to kind of figure it out with your broken Japanese like I had to, and it'll be just interesting to play through it again because, you know, it's an EDF game and I'm going to play through it again, so I might as well find it, like, try and justify it somehow. Seeing this release to me is another justification to play through the game again. But they also have Edf Iron Rain, which is their more Western focused one. The last time they tried this was kind of Insect Annihilation, and it didn't really suit what they were trying to do. It wasn't Japanese enough for what they were doing there, but it also wasn't Western enough to engage those audiences. So they've removed, like, it's gone full robots versus aliens. All the robot designs are more straightforward, like they're more similar to what you would expect out of the traditional kind of fighting off aliens kind of thing, as opposed to EDF's traditionally more out there designs for robots. You know, some look like Cylons, some look like whatever. So that's a little bit more straightforward. That's an over-the-shoulder cam as well, so a lot more like Gears of War. And it's interesting to see them branch off and try the Western one again, I guess for something a little bit different. The other game they've got here as well is Labyrinth Life, but I probably won't get through customs again if I play that game. But I'm sure you could buy it from anywhere, you know, your usual suspects, be it the Japanese PSN store or whatever. But EDF's looking great. Ukes are making the American one, which looks really good as well. Super excited to play EDF again in English because, again, let's be real, I'm going to, and I just can't wait to play even more EDF now that Tokyo Game Show's about done. We're at the Koei Tecmo booth, and yeah, there's Italia, and yeah, there's Warriors of Orochi, which comes out soon. But I'm here to talk about DOA, and I figured the best person to do that with is Matt Ponton from FreeStepDodge, probably the world's biggest DOA fan site, you would say?
Right. Probably the biggest, definitely in the West.
Yeah.
I can't speak for the East, but we've made a name for ourselves over the course of DOA5's lifespan. Yeah. So we're well known around the area.
And so you have been here playing DOA6, as I have earlier today as well. I guess there are a fair few changes from DOA5. I mean, what do you think is probably the most impactful change?
Definitely the break gauge system that they entered in. Being a 3D fighting game, they don't tend to have, you're not used to the meter management that 2D fighting games have had for many decades now. That's been the biggest thing, because there's times where I'll start the match and just totally forget about the break gauge Fatal Rush system because they're using the gauge system in many different ways. So you have to actually be aware of your opponent's life, your opponent's meter, as well as where the position is in the game and your damage values that you can get out of your combos.
So, and it is really similar to, I guess, in a lot of ways, the Street Fighter V one, where you've got V reversals, which are break holds. You've got, you know, like a combo that leads into the break blow, which is the final move as well. So in a lot of ways, it does have those 2D fighting game similarities.
Yeah, the break blow is basically like the super. It's if you play DOA5, it's very similar to like the power blow, except that there's no charge time anymore. It's a Tsubaki attack, and it does a lot of damage on its own. But they actually are some advanced tactics they haven't actually put out in the public yet, where you can like cancel the break blow after it hits to actually use your meter not to do damage, but actually extend the stun, reset the stun threshold, and you get more damage from that new threshold, as well as more damage from any environments that you might put them in. So you can it's an advanced technique, whereas the break gauge is developed for a beginner style. Yep. There's also these these much deeper mechanics in the system as well, which are going to be making its way where it's going to be making a more eventful, impactful feel to the game.
I guess that is the big thing with DOA. To me, it's always been a great beginner fighter because it is a real simple concept: punch, kick, hold, and then there are those next level layers of it. Do you think that even with the gauges and with all the extra stuff that's bringing, do you think it'll still be pretty approachable for new players?
Definitely. It basically still feels exactly like DOA. I had the fortune to play against all the other competitive players at EVO this past summer, and what I noticed was that, yeah, a lot of the top players who were in DOA5 were still winning, but it was because they were playing DOA. They were all still playing DOA5 inside this new DOA6 system.
Meta,
yeah, and just every so often, like remembering that they can do these meter things that will really help it out. But so you can still play that DOA5 system if you're a fan of DOA5's engine. If you're a fan of the DOA engine, it still plays like DOA. Yeah. Likewise, it has a very welcoming atmosphere to it. I've always been, as an esports manager and competitive tournament organizer, I've always found it very interesting that I think, in my own experience, the Dead or Alive series has had a very good gender diversity in it. There's actually probably the largest female base. Yeah. Competitively and non-competitively that play the game seriously. So it's pretty fun to see how the players make it out to events.
I guess enough of the serious business questions. One more before we go. Who haven't they announced that you're waiting to see?
Well, they just announced Ayane here at Tokyo Game Show, so definitely Bass Armstrong. He's like the Hogan-esque character, if you will. I actually had the privilege to meet Kenny Omega yesterday, and he also expressed his interest in waiting for Bass to come up.
How do you reckon they're going to do grapplers? It seems like they're going to have to give grapplers a few new tools to make them relevant.
Yeah, definitely with DOA5, they had, with the critical burst system, the stun system, it doesn't help out with the grapplers as much because unlike other fighting games, you have the issue where throws will lose to attacks no matter what. There's no tick throwing. Yeah, there's only like fake outs with the throwing. So I still, since Bayman was just announced and just now playable, and but he's been slowly removed from the grappler class. That's very difficult to get an idea. There are some things with him that fans will probably like a lot. That might give an idea for how the grapplers are going to play.
Fair enough. On that note, we'll leave it there. Matt, thank you very much for your time. FreeStepDodge is the website.
Yes.
And thanks very much for joining us at Tokyo Game Show.